At RPM TV, we normally get to test the smart stuff, top-end models with all the bells and whistles and lots of extras as well. So entry-level models are a rare occurrence in our garage, but that's exactly what this Kia is. It's a 1.6 EX, and it is the entry-level model, although it doesn't look the budget beater part. Kia started out selling on price and value rather than style and aspiration. The cars were average at best, but they were affordable and offered a lot for the money. Then designer Peter Schreier came along, fresh from a stint with Audi that included penning the TT Sports Coupe. Suddenly Kias were handsome rather than merely inoffensive or even mundane. The Schreier influence is quite obvious in the case of the Cerato, with its streamlined shape and low, wide stance. The trademark grille, slim headlights, steeply raked windscreen and almost angular rear endow the Kia Cerato with real design flair. This is the latest updated version of the Kia Cerato, but you'd be hard-pressed to tell the differences between this new version and its predecessor. In fact, if you're a bit of a Kia expert, you might notice the new grille and the new headlights, which in turn have led to a different bonnet and a revised bumper. And since this is the hatchback version, the differences at the rear are absolutely nil. It remains exactly the same. The execution is smart and streamlined with lots of color coding, while that wide, low stance implies a certain measure of athletic appeal. Those 16-inch wheels could be bigger, but then let's not forget that this is the entry-level model. If the exterior is smart, then the interior is positively luxurious. These very comfortable seats get brand new and quite upmarket fabric upholstery, and also upmarket these gloss black surrounds around the gear lever and also on the steering wheel. In fact, the overall ambiance is elegant, which is quite unusual for an entry-level car. By the same token, there's also nothing entry-level about the list of standard features. Instead of the bare-bones execution you'd expect, there's a long list of useful kit, which includes Bluetooth for hands-free cell phone comms and audio streaming, remote central locking, a user-friendly multifunction steering wheel, and electric windows and mirrors. On paper, the Kia's 1.6-litre engine looks like quite a decent proposition. It produces 95 kilowatt of maximum power linked to 157 newton-meters of torque. But there are two important elements to remember here. First of all, this is a normally aspirated engine, which means it loses around 18% of its power at Johannesburg's 1,600-meter altitude. And secondly, it's quite a peaky unit because maximum torque here is only available at just under 5,000 RPM. All of that means that the car really doesn't feel as peppy as those engine output figures suggest. And that's a pity, because the 6-speed manual gearbox is a pleasure to use. It has a slick and positive shift action that encourages frequent use. The clutch takes some getting used to though, and the throttle action is just a bit too sharp, making balancing the two an exercise in dexterity. Despite the busy 1600cc engine, however, refinement levels are a plus point, which again is a rare virtue in the entry-level context and makes up for some of the Cerato's dynamic shortcomings. Kia claims a 0 to 100 time of 10.1 seconds and a top speed of 200 kilometers an hour, figures which suggest that this car has got a fair amount of dynamic talent. But in practice, it does feel disappointingly lethargic, and the reason, of course, for that is that Peaky engine, which means you have to work quite hard to keep it in the power band. That goes for tractability as well. I guess one could argue that buyers of this Kia Cerato won't have performance on top of their list, but will be more concerned about comfort, fuel consumption and ease of use. It certainly offers a compliant ride, and the steering is effortless, if a little vague. Fuel economy suffers from the need to keep the engine on the boil, especially at altitude. Gone are the days of cheap and nasty Kias. This Cerato 1.6 EX might be the entry-level model, but it does offer a lot for the money. In fact, the upmarket execution of the interior and the very high spec level means that this car represents excellent value for money. All it needs now is a bit of extra vuma. A smooth but peaky engine needs to be exercised with vigor to deliver its best while never living up to dynamic expectations. But the manual gearbox is a treat to use, while ride and refinement are impressive in mainstream terms. Most of all, this Kia Cerato shines brightly as far as standard spec and value are concerned.